Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my Let's Play of What Remains of Edith Finch. This will be part 2 of my series. As you can see, I just loaded back into the game from where we left off. However, we're still inside of Molly's room. So let's see what's happening here. Alright, so, still using my controller, which I have, let's see, right here. Alright, so it seems the game did not save where we were outside, but that's fine because I wanted to talk about the game anyway. So yes, so actually when we're inside of Molly's room right now, I remember that it seemed like it was super bright outside, that we were basically going to go and explore the daytime, but once we go through this little passageway, yep, everything morphs. Everything turns dull, the sky is cloudy and gray, the trees even look more wicked right now, kind of like how it was in Molly's world, except her world was also very foggy. And I think that that whole sequence, especially with like how strange and foggy the world was, even before we morphed from the cat into other animals, I think it was showing like her isolation. It seemed like she had basically been at this house a long time, seemed like she wasn't getting the food she needed, and so everything outside the house was just not an option. I mean, her window was chained up, so that fog represents like that she hasn't even explored outside of her residence, which is really sad, but I thought it was really good attention to detail of this game. But I want to continue further and just say I'm really looking forward to getting more insight on the characters of this game and see more of that innovation that I saw during the Molly sequence. This game has been pretty...
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
Okay. Named the kitten Molly after Molly Finch. Okay, understandable. Molly wanted to escape as a cat, and as many other animals. I wonder if they knew that. Did we have that insight into her psyche, or is it just because we were reading her journal? Also, it seems, I was talking about it, I was saying the game was very surreal, but it seems that our tint changes almost into like an antique vintage tint whenever we're near the house, which like sepia tones, which is pretty standard for back in the day, kind of how their pictures would look. Yeah, and you can see that it actually changes the world as well. So we anticipate, a sunny outside world, and then boom, it hits us, the reality of the outside, the grays. Okay, satellite TV. They are not unsophisticated in this house when it comes to having different items and technology.
I spent a lot of time in Great Grandma Edie's room.
The remnants of dead birds as well. A graveyard of birds. Got it, Edie. It's funny, we can jingle jangle around with with these cages. Oh wait.
Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones.
Oh. It seems like Edie... I mean, if we're talking about cages, Evie caged up her child, it seems, if she is the mother of Molly. Or whoever was the mother of Molly definitely caged her up. Can we see that? Yeah, it was Odin and Edie. Okay. Perfect. I love that we can check that. Thank you, game, for adding in a really great feature in the pause menu. So, yeah, it seems she caged up her child, just like these birds. But then she tried to make up for it with Edith. Because to Edith, Edie is very heartfelt, or very thoughtful, and like very giving, which it didn't seem like she was with Molly.
Lewis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Just like the birds, huh? Make a portrait of him.
Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Very interesting. Oh, and then we get new
Whatever's wrong with this
information.
family, it goes back a long ways.
Trying to escape the curse, only for it to follow you, no matter where you go. Okay. That was really interesting. Yeah, pressing RT to go through and basically attach different pieces of film and turn it to get the entire family history. That was great. That was a great way to get the history, something that I can interact with and change the pace of myself is great. I'm gonna look for more. Okay. She had just taken her pills on a Tuesday, it seems, unless she didn't use her pill caddy that much. Very sophisticated room. Yeah, very old-timey.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Dragon kills Finch. Yeah, Edie was obviously very sentimental, kept a piece of everyone, just like the house has a piece of everyone as well. Built in 1937, Sven Finch. So her husband, Edie won't go. Refuses to evacuate because of a little forest fire. Oh yeah. Yeah, she is very sentimental staying here.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
I mean, yeah, I don't even think she wanted the attention. It's just, this is her house, her rules. She's never leaving.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
Huh. Named after Edie, her grandmother. Okay.
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
That's strange. Maybe she does want the attention and the fame. There's something more there. Molly concepts. Okay. We saw a lot of concepts from Molly, and they were very disturbing, to say the least.
Even in her 90s. Sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
In what way? I guess maybe she could relate to Edie more than her own mom.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife, Kay, left on the house was the pink bathroom.
Oh, this is incredible.
It was a pretty big trace.
I'm sure this gets dirty easily, but what a statement. Talk about going from like old-timey, museum-like room with historical artifacts. So it's someone else leaving their trace. Yep, okay. Old people with the chair in the shower. Make sure they don't fall. Another pill caddy with Tuesday opened. Strange that she'd have two. Oh, here we go. It's a secret bathroom.
There's a secret in this bathroom.
I thought it was going to be a secret passageway, but it's like a pull-out book.
It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard.
Wait. Oh. I can even go back on this. Okay. I'm pulling it with the use of the buttons and RT and everything. It's another one of those interactive sequences.
It's hidden in this book.
It is! That's so cool. We use a pop-open book in order to get behind the wall. The other one was just a standard book that you open.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Sam. Okay, looks like one of his sons or daughters. Sven, okay. Alright, we're behind again. I'm guessing we cannot go back. We can go back. Okay. Huh. Maybe I could have gone back in those other sequences when I said I could not. But I don't think I could. Thought there was an invisible wall. Okay. This is caulked up, so I can't go that way, so might as well go behind the wall. Keep exploring. So this is like a dark room of sorts, which, Gone Home, we saw the dark room up in the attic in that game. Calvin Finch had a short life. There's a deer. We saw a deer ourselves in the woods. Trying to see if there's anything important just in the different items we find. Oh, time to crawl. The game automatically makes me crawl, and then I just move around with the stick. Is this liquor? Wine? Push the chair out of the way. Whoa. This is like a museum. I mean, they've literally used a museum rope to cordon off, it seems like Calvin's childhood area, which, by the way, if I was a child, this would be everything I'd ever want. I mean, he even has his own, like, tree house inside of the house. Wow, who built this?
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin.
Oh, great.
And that he never talked about him.
Must be Calvin. Oh, yeah. The space race in the 1960s. Using a bit of history.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Here I am, controlling Calvin.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did.
I can swing him.
At Barbara's funeral, we swore he'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready! Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
I like the inclusion of different fonts.
I told him going around was impossible.
It feels like I'm getting unsteady as I swing, which I'm using the sticks for, by the
Maybe
way.
if I hadn't said that.
Wow, I'm going high.
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up.
I almost feel my stomach dropping as I
then
do
maybe
this.
he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
I'm about to swing the circle. He's talking about his brother committing suicide? Oh my gosh, I did do it. Now we're completely in control of
The
it.
day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Mm.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Wrapping around the swing and trying to fly. Okay. I'm trying to see, does that mean... I mean, he said his brother had made up his mind and decided to fly. I'm guessing that he killed himself, possibly off of the swing. I was guessing I was embodying Calvin, but I could have been embodying Sam. I really like the inclusion of different fonts too. Like we had the font of his journal entries that was basically written out, and then we had his mother calling him back in a more like standard, nicer, more professional font. I really like these sequences.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
The Great Caterpillar? That looked like the Caterpillar book from when I was a child. The Hungry Caterpillar. Okay, another one. Caterpillar turns into butterfly, and then I open the lock. I pull up. Hold on. I don't know that I've seen everything in Calvin's room yet. Fort Sam and Fort Calvin. Well, Sam's is not roped off. Sam also had a little cubby of his own, but it's just storage.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Wow. Sam enlisted and never set foot in the room. And then Calvin launched away, never to be seen again. Okay. That's why they made it space themed. Oh, that's so sad. But it is a fitting end for him. Cordon off, though. I understand. Alright, let's keep going. Through the house.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Yeah, who constructed these? I'm guessing they wanted people to sneak around the house and have a whole ecosystem. Okay, I could go out here, or I could keep going to someone else's room. I'll go here right now. This is Milton. See the one who went missing?
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Barbara. She's one of the other... She's a sister of Calvin. Just like Molly, she's one of those other kids. Okay. Okay, movie themed. Yeah, okay. Hollywood sign with Barbara on it. Movie posters, Bigfoot, Supernatural, Spectacle.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
This lamp, or this clock freaks me out, but it makes sense for a Barbara room. It's very zany and whimsical, which is what most of this room embodies. Yeah, there's Barbara. So, looks like Edie made a wood placard of everyone out of a tree, fitting. Part of the family tree, right? Um, and then she put their portrait on there and how long they lived. She lived only 16 years. Dreadful stories.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Was she actually an actress?
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
That's this house.
I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box.
I can do it inside of the comic book?
She wound the key. She listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
I'm controlling her inside of the comic book, okay. With that style. Oh, that's the music from... Is this Halloween?
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
I can use this to attack. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I figured I could knock these over. Keep the physics engine inside of the comic book. Wow, okay. Maybe it'll get a little glitchy.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
I cannot see anything. Oh, here we go.
Oh, Finch rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Back in control. Can I use the ladder? No, I cannot. It's so weird. I'm inside of the Finch house back when Barbara and Walter were still alive during Halloween with the Halloween soundtrack playing inside of the comic book. This is where I just was. Molly's room over here. What's this? This is Walter, Uncle Walter, I think.
Walter, are you there? Walter vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police described the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
I controlled that.
He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
Oh, the secret passageway that I already know.
That night, she played her part beautifully.
Okay. Molly's room's not caulked up yet. I go from behind. How does he not see? Here we go.
He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
I've got to go down and finish him off. The movement is very slow.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. From Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick. He disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard. But that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
There's her ear. Okay. Wow. Very tropey.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
Okay, I want to talk about that too, but yeah, very tropey, very over the top, fitting for someone who wants to be famous, like she was saying, just be in the spotlight all the time, and that's all she cares about. And then Edie sees that as a happy ending. It seemed like she cared about the fame too. I was saying there's something more there, where she did the interview for the mole man under the house. Even if things are untrue, even if they lead to ultimately bad outcomes, if you get exposure and you get fans like they were saying, then maybe that's all they ever wanted. Very dark though. Every time I look into someone's past, we talk about the Finch curse. I mean, it curses them in different ways. It seems depending upon their interests and their position in the family. But wow, I did not expect that to be so long, firstly, and also for me to be able to interact with certain pieces in it, because at first it was just like, oh yeah, this is a visual novel, I'm reading, I can't even like change the pace of the words, it's very like scripted out, and then I could actually control things, albeit I had no like choices that changed the dynamic, but it was still interactive, and I enjoyed that piece of it. This game is giving me whiplash though, like especially when I was embodying all those different creatures, and then now I was inside of a comic book.
All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key.
Oh, the words were glitching while she said that. Yeah, the basement key. Yeah, that revealed certain aspects of the house and like how to get into secret passageways. So they planned on you getting that before you go into the basement, I guess. And that definitely is not a real comic book made. I think it's just like the manifesting of Barbara's psyche inside of the house, inside of Edith Finch's journal. Alright, Barbara, I think we've gleaned enough from your sad tale.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
She knew. She knew about everything. And then Sven made all the secret passageways, which we learned. If I came by, I would have only seen this view, right? Yeah.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
Not even Barbara, America grew out of it. Wow. And that's the worst case scenario for her. Then she has no audience. That's the attic, it seems.
I wonder if that comic was right about there being a key inside the music box near the basement.
Why are these words glitching out? It makes it seem like something bad is gonna happen. Because it's not like there's a wavering in her voice. She's not overly emotional. So that's not changing the words. It is getting to be nighttime. Seems that there's a cycle, a daily cycle possibly in the game, depending on where you go. I mean, considering it wanted me to go to the basement, I could go that way. I could also visit the other rooms that it wanted me to see, but that's where I was. Remember, I was here, and the words, they came up my screen, and they flew up to the left. This way. Aha! And this is where I've already been.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
So the game wanted me to get a sneak peek of what was to come, and then when I actually get in the rooms, I would have that same sense of no way that I could actually get in here when I could only peer through and get superficial.
Maybe I should go check out that music
evidence.
box down by the basement. As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Yeah, you assumed you weren't allowed inside of, but Sven made it so that you could go back and see these memories. Also, it's funny, my character was saying, we need to go to visit the basement, right when she's trying to talk about the peepholes and how they make you digest the house instead of actually visiting the rooms. You feel very distant. Yes, Finn and Edie. Okay, Edie lived a long time.
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
But then when Edith dies, Edie's not here to put up her portrait. and memorialize her.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
Oh, it's creaking. The house is creaking. It is getting spookier. We just had that, very over-the-top Halloween, like, tropey, old-timey, like, comic book, but, like, interactive comic book, movie type of experience. And then now we're back in reality. We're inside of her, Edith Finch's diary, but it's still very, strange, eerie, creepy, compared to what it was when it was light outside. Alright, I really want to go into the basement. I think I'm going to stop this part here. Don't want to have it be too long. And I feel like we're going to be in a new saga now. So, enjoying it and ready to explore more in a bit. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next part.